Hi, and welcome to another episode of Conversation with a Chef. I'm Jo Ritty, and I love sharing with you the conversations I get to have with talented and passionate chefs. It's the backstory, if you will, to the food they're putting up. I begin today by acknowledging the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation, traditional custodians of the lands and airwaves where this conversation takes place. Land which was never ceded, land where communities came together to eat seasonally, locally, and without exhausting resources. I pay my respects to their elders past, present, and rising. Today I'm talking to McKay Wilday at Alta Trattoria in Fitzroy. McKay is a fascinating guy. He gives off a calm, unflappable, and very assured vibe, and he comes out with the most unexpected things. I knew I was going to enjoy talking more to him, having spoken briefly to him when I was writing about Alta Trattoria, the restaurant he owns with Carlo Grossi, James Tait and Luke Drum for Broadsheet. I knew he was Grossi alumnus, and I knew he'd worked at Geranium in Copenhagen, one of last year's top 50 restaurants. I did not know, and how would I, that he once dreamed of being a concert pianist, and that one of his first cooking jobs involved being in a pool of live lobster and carefully selecting the night's catch without them wrapping around his legs. McKay has a wealth of knowledge about Ligurian and in fact other Italian regional food, and this chat was absolutely worth being up very early on the Saturday morning of a long weekend. Hi.
Good morning.
How are you?
Yeah, good yourself.
Yeah, good, thanks.
That's all right.
You've been getting such great reviews.
Yeah, it's been pretty good. I cannot complain. It's super busy, huh?
Yeah.
No, it's been very nice.
So how long have you been open now?
End of February opened.
Yeah, that's right. Gosh, that's gone quickly.
Yeah. So end of February opened, and that's just been pretty consistent ever since.
Yeah.
This week's a bit quiet because of the long weekend, but what can you do?
So you're obviously doing long hours if you're in here this early.
Yeah, look, usually I start at 9, but I just wanted to get in before all the noise.
Yeah.
It gets pretty noisy in here. It's a small restaurant.
Yes. So you're open for lunch as well?
Yes,
Yeah.
so we're open for lunch Saturday and Sundays, and then just dinners every other day.
Yeah.
7 days.
That's a lot.
Mm.
And are you in 7 days?
No, I just work Tuesday to Saturday.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm doing special shift tomorrow, Sunday.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. It's interesting, isn't it? Because that means that you have to, I guess, have trained your staff and to trust them to hand over the restaurant for the days that you're not there. But that's what it's all about, isn't it?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Look, Dane, I trust a lot. We've worked together at Grossi, so I know that his pasta work and bread making is good. So my main role in the kitchen when I'm in there prepping is to do pasta.
Yeah.
And the bread, no one else really can do that.
Okay.
Apart from Dane.
Yeah.
I'm very specific on it.
Yeah. So, how did you get that skill? Where did that come from?
Well, I guess when I started working at Grossi's, I started there in 2012 as a little apprentice. I was young. And then, I just got put on the pasta section. Well, first larder, and then eventually pasta section. And I just got slammed every day. Every day, huge amounts of pasta. And if you know Grossi's, then they're just one big pasta machine for all 3 restaurants. So my section was that. So I saw lots of different types of pasta being made, and I got a real passion for it. And I guess my passion for Italian food grew while I was working at Grossi.
What is it? Is Grossi? Because you're a particular kind of Italian food here, the Piemontese. But is that Grossi? Is it a bit more wide, regionally wide?
It is a bit more wide, but Guy's parents, his father is from the south of Italy, and his mother's from the Veneto. So, I guess upstairs is, a bit of everything. Probably mainly a bit more focused up the north part of Italy. I'm not sure how it is these days, but when I was working there, it was a bit of everything. The grill is like Tuscan grill, so lots of good meats, very Tuscan influence. When I when they did the massive renovations down there, I helped them like restart that, which was good. Yeah.
And so the two specialty pastas that you're doing here from the Piedmont region, tell me again about those, because I really love the way you described it for Broadsheet.
Yeah, so the tagliarini is a very, very thin tagliarini. Usually it's like super paper thin, and it's just served with like butter and sage, or a type of ragu. If you go to a trattoria in Piemonte, you kind of have like, there are 4 pastas with 4 different types of ragu, and or sauces that you can choose from. You got like the tagliarini with tomato, tagliarini with ragu, tagliarini with butter or butter and sage. So that shape is very classic to Piemonte. It's a lot thinner than your normal tagliatelle. It's very, very thin. It's very simple up there. And that is just made with semolina and egg yolks.
Oh yeah.
So that's how you can get it so thin, is because semolina you can get rolled out super thin. Egg yolks is like a good binding agent. It's very strong, and yeah. And then you've got the ravioli del plin. So agnolotti, ravioli, doesn't bother me what you call it. If you want to get specific, agnolotti has to be a very certain recipe, in my opinion, made with agnello or lamb. That comes from a very specific region in Piemonte, in the Cuneo region, in Langhe. If you're going to call it agnolotti, it has to be like that. That's in my opinion. Ravioli del plin, I call it like that because that's how I learned. I learned from a Ligurian lady who was from Piemonte. And so anywhere that you're outside of the Cuneo region, you call it ravioli del plin. And so obviously plin is when you pinch the 2 sides of the pasta around the mix and then you fold it over. And that's how you get it. Plin is dialect to pinch in Piemontese.
And what's inside?
At the moment we've got braised brisket from the Wanderers. I think Wanderers is some of the best meat in Melbourne. I love it. When I was working at Victoria by Farmers' Daughters, we had a couple of their steaks on, the hanger and the scotch, and it was amazing. I just fell in love with it. So I think it's a perfect cut of meat for what we use. It's a little bit more fattier, a bit more nuttier in flavour, and not too much sinew, which is really good. And then that is just braised with heaps of mushrooms, seasoned with mascarpone and parmesan, and then I make like a broth from all the braising juices, and then the pasta gets cooked inside of that just before we serve it.
Oh, so delicious.
Yeah, well, that's how I like to cook the pasta. I like to cook it only about 15 to 20 seconds in the pasta water and then the rest in the pan.
Yeah. Because
for me, the pasta actually has to take on the flavour of the sauce instead of boiled pasta with sauce on top. It doesn't appeal to me, really. You need the pasta to absorb the flavour of the sauce, and so you just put it in the pasta bowl just to get rid of all the semolina and extra starch and get it cooking, and then the rest in the pan.
And the Ligurian lady that you learned from, was that here or over there?
No, that was when I was living in Liguria.
Wow.
So I was at a restaurant, Balsi Rossi. It's been around. It's been around 50 years or so. It used to be 2 Michelin stars back in the day, like in the 1980s. And Signora Pina, she was like the head of it. She's 86 years old. She passed away just before we opened this place, unfortunately. But she really taught me how to cook like Italian food. And then also I had a Piemontese head chef who was trained at Alma, who showed me the very technical sides of Italian cooking. So I had the best of both worlds. And also my partner, she's Ligurian. And so I learned lots of little Ligurian dishes from her mother and nonna, which was amazing. So I learned a lot. I learned a lot of that kind of Ligurian style of things while I was there.
Yeah.
But the majority of my knowledge for Italian food was down in the south of Italy when I worked at Bros. Yeah, that was hectic. So, yeah. The Bros really, like, I worked there for just about a year and a half, and it was probably the hardest thing I've done in my life. I would not suggest anyone to go there ever to work.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was brutal. It's what a kitchen should never be.
Wow.
But I just take the positives from the negatives, and that's all I can do.
So it sounds like a year and a half was pretty good going then.
Yeah.
To have lasted that
Yeah,
long.
I was probably one of his longest employees.
Wow.
I was his right-hand man.
And what led you there? How did you end up in Italy?
Well, when I was working at Grossi's, me and my partner Maura, we planned a trip to Italy because obviously she's Italian, and she wanted to show me her country. And I was like, yeah, let's go. And I was young. I was 22, I think, when we went. And I just fell in love with it. We travelled on the trains all around from the north of Italy down to the south and back up. And we just ate so much food. She showed me all these beautiful places. So we started in Ventimiglia, then we went all the way down to Pisa, Florence, Panzano and Chianti, where I did a stage with Dario Cecchini, who's like the master of the Florentina. Stayed with him for a couple of weeks, and then after that, down to Rome, then Rome to Sicily, and then we flew into Verona, and then got to Modena, all that region. I ate at Osteria Francescana. That was like my dream as a little apprentice, being able to eat at Osteria Francescana. It was amazing. It's still probably one of the best dining experiences.
What did you eat?
We ate, I can tell you a few. It was like the 5 types of parmesan, the burnt end of the lasagna, the big apple, a really cool risotto that was spraying like a citrus spray everywhere, which I thought was really cool. I've never seen that before. I know, it was like 25 courses.
Wow,
This was the year that they got voted number 1.
Yeah.
So it was very intense, and everyone, I didn't know what to expect because it was my first fine dining restaurant. It was really good. And then after that, we came back to Australia, and I was like, man, I want to open up a restaurant in Italy. I was like, I'm going to do it. And yeah, I just told guys, I'm off to Italy. And then we found ourselves in Ligurian. And then I realized you can't open up a restaurant in Italy. There's too much bureaucracy.
And would it also be, how would the locals accept an Australian doing that? Anyway, is that a thing, or is it just...
No, they don't. They probably wouldn't accept it. You know, it was... If you kind of venture off... That's why Osteria Francescana was so cool, because it kind of modernized Italian cooking, and it took a while to get up and going, but they did it. But if an Australian went over there, I don't know. I don't think it would work. It'd take a long time to get it up. Yeah, especially when I didn't speak the language. So
yeah,
I had my partner, and she was translating everything for me. It was very frustrating. So I just had to learn it.
Yeah. Do you speak it now?
Yeah. But I speak with like a southern accent because I learned the majority of my Italian down the south. So then I had to relearn how to speak when I was up the north, because they speak very different.
That's right. Yeah.
But
wow.
It was like I had to learn Italian, otherwise I wouldn't have survived.
But I also think, and I say this as a French teacher, but I think when you learn a language, it does give you a much better insight into the psyche of the people. I think you can understand a lot more by the language, because as you were saying, some of the words that use even in cooking, the direct translation doesn't always work, or it's got a story behind it. I think it's really good to understand that.
Exactly. And like Italians speak with their hands a lot, so I watched a lot of MasterChef Italia, and you kind of just put 2 and 2 together and watch their hand movements and everything, and you can kind of figure out what they're saying after some time.
Yeah, I lived in the south of France for a year, and I feel like it's similar down there.
Yeah, whereabouts?
just out of Avignon in Château-Renard.
Okay,
so
nice.
it's near Saint-Rémy-de-Provence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Ventimiglia, where I was living, is right on the border of France and
It is,
Italy.
yeah.
So I was there for most of my time in Italy.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
And so Basirossi is the last restaurant just before the border.
Yeah, right. I went through there on the train from Nice to the San Remo leather market.
Yeah,
total tourist
it's
that it was.
San Remo's beautiful.
Yeah. So where did it all start for you?
As a little chef?
As a little chef?
I actually started cooking when I was 15.
Wow.
I was actually wanting to be a concert pianist. I played piano for 9 years beforehand.
Is that right?
Yeah. And I wanted to be a concert pianist. And my mum said, well, just in case it all backfires, you need to get yourself a trade, and something to fall back on. And when you're in your year 6 and year 7, that's what they really push for in Ulverston, in my little town of Tasmania. You've got to have a trade. You've got to be a tradie, a plumber, and I didn't want to be any of that. So they were looking. I was working at McDonald's at the time, and I was like, yeah, cool, I might as well just, try being a chef. I've always cooked with my mother. My first job was when I was 14 in a little takeaway store just down the road from where I lived. And so there was a local restaurant, famous in our town, called Pedro's. It's this little seafood bistro that is over the river. So it hangs over the river, so when the tide comes in, you kind of over the water.
Wow. And
with a little fish and chip shop on the side. But I started as an apprentice in there. And I remember the first day I started, I cut myself real bad. I still got the scar on my finger. Just went straight through, because I've never had a sharp knife before. Yeah. And so I was cutting a tomato. And so that was my first day. Lasted half an hour. And then I went back the next day. And then, I just had all the shitty jobs, like shucking oysters. I used to do 100 dozen a day. I used to have to, cook hundreds of kilos of prawns because we used to wholesale them, catch the lobsters out of the lobster tanks, and had to get in there, and they used to wrap around my legs, and you can't touch them because they're expensive, so you have to put some fresh water on them.
What do you mean you're actually in the tank?
Yeah, there's a massive swimming pool full of lobsters that we used to sell.
Wow.
Yeah.
How great.
And so that's how I kind of started, just chaos.
That's a cool start though.
Yeah. And that was working with a lot of seafood. And then I moved to another restaurant in Penguin called Wild Cafe, which really was one of the best restaurants on the northwest coast at the time. It was a French Asian infusion restaurant, a 40-seater, and packed every day. I was like, cool, new restaurant, let's see how it goes, to see if I really like it. And I was so naive. I really didn't understand what chefing was. It broke me. And so I was like, fuck it, I'm not going to be a chef anymore. I quit for 2 months, went back to school to continue studying to be a concert pianist. I was like, I can't do this. I was like, Mum, I'm moving out of home, and moved down to Hobart with a few of my mates. That lasted 6 months.
How old were you then?
18. Yeah. And worked here for the Goodstone Group, just a nice little pub. And then I ate at a restaurant called Garage East, which blew my mind. And I think at that point of my life, I was like, why can't I do this? I'm just cooking schnitties and, deep frying fish. Why can't I do this? And I sat down and ate a beautiful meal. And then I said to my mum, I was like, I'm moving to the mainland. I want to, work in these high-level restaurants, because they were closing down by the time, I think it was one of the last few months had been open. I was like, I want to do something like that. I'm going to have a restaurant like this by the time I'm 30. She's like, you serious? I was like, yeah, you watch me. And so then I moved to Melbourne and started working at Grossi's. And I was at Grossi's for 5 years, from 2012 to 2017. And then, that's how it all happened.
And tell me about Geranium.
Geranium. Oh, that was awesome. I never wanted to work in 3 Michelin star. So when I was working down in Lecce, in Liguria, in Puglia, my boss, he was good friends with the general manager of Geranium, because he was also Pugliese. And he saw me work, and he always tried to get me to work at Geranium. I was like, no, don't want to work at Geranium. Don't want to be, a tweezer chef. I don't want to pick herbs. And he kept begging me, but I eventually ended up moving to Denmark, but I worked at 108, so for the Noma group. Did a little bit of time in Noma, 108, and then COVID hit, and 108 just went under. They fired everyone, got rid of everyone. And I got out just before he started getting rid of everyone, which was good. And I said, look, I'll come to Geranium. And so, I was there for 1.5 years, I think. But that was intense.
So they were still open during COVID?
No, I got there just as we reopened.
Oh,
so
okay,
I was at 108 for the whole time during COVID.
Oh, wow, okay.
And then started Geranium, then we went into a second lockdown. Which was okay. The second lockdown was only like a month, 6 weeks, I think. But the first one was like 3 months.
Yeah.
And but in my time at Geranium, I decided to end up going to Geranium because I was like, why not? Like, I'm here. I can learn how to work in a massive group of people because I've only ever worked by myself. I've never worked in a big restaurant. Right. I've always been in a section by myself.
How big is the staff?
We had 40 chefs. And then after the second lockdown, we had 15. So we were in the shit.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah.
Doing the same amount of covers?
Yeah,
wow.
Even more because we started opening up lunches in a vegan restaurant inside the same building called Angelica. So one of your chefs had to go to the Angelica and the other one stayed in the section and did mise en place. He just sunk. It was like, you start at 6 o'clock in the morning just to be ready because by 11 o'clock you have to be ready for service. Service finishes at 4:30. 5 o'clock there's another full dining room.
Yeah.
So you have to be like 3-4 days ahead of your like mise en place with your sauces and then just every day just punching and picking herbs.
Yeah. So what, do they have the same hierarchy in the kitchens?
Yeah, even more. Like, I think it's probably the most amount of like labeling I've seen in the kitchen.
Oh.
There was like, so you got Rasmus, who's like the executive chef owner. Then there's like 2 head chefs, 2 senior sous chefs, like 6 sous chefs.
Oh.
Like 1 for each section, and then under there's like 5 or 6 other chefs underneath them. Yeah, it was insane, and everyone plays the hierarchy card pretty hard.
And what were you?
I was just a CDP.
Yeah.
But I was the only I was the only one allowed to cook during service. Because Rasmus said that I was Australian, I shouldn't know how to use a barbecue. So everything was like all the little veg was grilled and all the meat was grilled. It was the only cooking ever done in that restaurant.
Oh.
But no, I was like a senior chef de partie. I was going to be a sous chef, but I turned it down because I was leaving. So I was like, I don't want to take the job of being a sous chef and be sous chef for 2 months.
No.
Because I was going to go back to Italy for another couple of months before coming back here.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So now you've realised your dream of having your own place.
Yeah, well, I got it by the time I was 30.
Yeah.
So
Congratulations.
I stuck to my dream.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And does it feel different when it's your own
my
place?
Own. A lot. I'm just more relaxed.
Ah.
Yeah. This place is not. It has its stressful times, but I've got no one to impress apart from myself, which is good. I don't have to prove myself to anyone apart from myself, which is good. 15 years of working for someone else and constantly being on edge, constantly making sure that you're doing everything how they want it. It's a relief to be able to do something how I want it. And I think I'm kind of finding my style. I'm not the most creative person and I don't really have a cooking style yet. I'm still trying to figure that out, but I feel that I cook very simple. I only have very few ingredients in each dish, but I execute it very well. I kind of take the ragu, completely destruct everything and then re-put it back together. I cook the veg separate to the meat and then I put it together, then I process the veg separate to the meat again, put it together again. You know, it's like flavor structuring.
Yeah.
Instead of just all in a pot and then let it go,
Yeah.
I kind of just pull it all apart and cook everything perfectly, then bring it together. So that's how I like to cook.
And it sounds like you really like to know, the background and the history of the dishes and so on as well. So that's another layer of...
Of course, especially when it's Italian.
Yeah.
There's so much Italian food out there. And we just specialize, our main focus is Piemonte, but there is so many dishes in Piemonte, we could never put them all on. It'd be impossible.
Yeah. That's exciting though.
Yeah.
You're never going to run out.
No, the stories behind each dish are cool, how they came to part. Why is it done a certain way? Why is it called a certain way? That's really cool.
Yeah.
You just can keep learning. You'll never be bored.
Yeah.
Never be bored.
Do you still play the piano?
No. I do sometimes when I go back home to Tassie, for 10 minutes, and I was like, I'm done.
Yay.
Yeah. But no, eventually I'll start again. Once I have my own house that I can have a piano in there, because I don't want a keyboard. It's not the same.
No.
I'm very picky when it comes to that.
It's a grand piano?
Oh, just like a normal, nice upright.
Yeah. Nice.
Not Yamaha. Don't like the sound.
Okay. All right. So quite picky with pianos.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you've had lots of different experiences. Not over a long period. You're still young.
Yeah.
But what would your advice be to a young person who was thinking about becoming a chef?
It's always a tough one because it feels like you're throwing them into the deep end. But I don't know, just really don't go to a restaurant just because of its accolades. I've learned that. Just because they're the best in the world doesn't mean that you're going to learn to be the best. I think do your research, find a chef that you like, find a chef that will teach you and that is willing to teach you. And I think that makes a difference, because if you don't have a chef that doesn't want to teach you, you're going to go nowhere. You get very frustrated if they're always yelling at you. Then just go. But do your research. Don't follow the crowd. Find a restaurant that really speaks to you, that you seem really interested, that you know that you can get the most out of. And then when you stop learning, move on. You're allowed to leave restaurants.
Yeah.
It's hard to do, but you can do it.
Great. Thank you.
No worries.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Conversation with a Chef with McKay Wilday at Alta Trattoria. You can check out all the goodness on Instagram at Alta Trattoria, which is ALTA TRATTORIA, or at McKay Wilday, McKaywilday. And if you liked what you heard and you want to hear more stories from other chefs, I'm on Instagram at Conversation with a Chef. You can read the chat at www.conversationwithachef.com, and you can follow me on Apple and Spotify podcasts, or maybe even anywhere else you get your podcasts. I would love it if you told a friend about my chats, and once again, thanks for listening. Have a great day.